Great. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Liz Bushnell. I'm the Executive Director at Questa Education Foundation. And our program tonight is to share a little bit of information about the Parkview Opportunities Scholars Program. It's a really amazing program that will allow students from Fort Wayne Community Schools to be able to pursue an associate's degree at Ivy Tech and start their careers with Parkview. So I'm joined tonight by Heather Shagler, who is the lead at Parkview for these programs. She's going to share a little bit about Parkview's goals with this program, what they're hoping to accomplish, why they're especially excited to be working with Fort Wayne Community Schools for this, and talk a little bit about the career opportunities at Parkview. So as we get started, what I'm going to do is share a little bit of information about the program and some slight background about Questa in case you haven't heard of us before. Then we're going to have Heather share. We'll pause and make sure we can answer any questions for those of you who are with us live. But we are also recording this session so that we can share it with students and families after tonight. So to start with, I'm sharing some slides and I'm going to give you a little bit of background information about Questa. Some of you may have heard of us before, but Questa Education Foundation is a nonprofit organization that is based in Fort Wayne, but we actually serve all of Northeast Indiana. So there are 11 counties that we serve, and our whole focus is to try and help students in our region to pursue college or other training after high school, to help them pay for those opportunities, minimize any debt at graduation. And our ultimate goal is to try and help people achieve their education so they can become part of our workforce when they graduate. Questa actually has a great tie to Fort Wayne Community Schools. We started at Southside High School. The program was started by Nelson Snyder, who was the principal at the time, and it was actually in 1937. So we have been around for 87 years. When Principal Snyder was at Southside, he wanted to make sure students who were interested in going to college had the financial help to be able to do it. And he started a loan program that ultimately evolved into Questa. And we've been doing the same thing for a number of years to be able to help students achieve their education. And we're really excited to partner with some amazing local employers like Parkview, who enable us to provide these great opportunities for students to fund their education and then get a great career start. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Parkview Opportunity Scholars Program, explain how it works and who's qualified, and then I'm going to ask Heather to share a little bit from Parkview's perspective. Again, we'll answer some questions, and then I'll spend a little bit of time going through the actual application so that if you have any questions as you're doing your application, hopefully that addresses some of those. But I will say at Questa, we are here to help you with this process. So I will share some contact information at the end of our program tonight, with our email, our phone number, with any questions in the application throughout the process. Once you're awarded and are part of the program, we're going to be with you to help you through every step. So we want to make sure that you can connect with us early, and that you take advantage of the support that we can provide. So to share a little bit about the Parkview program, this is a funding opportunity for students who graduate from Fort Wayne Community Schools. So it is not available to students from other districts. So we're really excited to specifically connect with the students at Fort Wayne Community Schools. Students who graduate this year can apply for this program. And it's funding to help you achieve a 2-year degree at Ivy Tech. And there's a number of different options that we'll talk about of majors you can pursue. So the funding is to set up as a loan. You can get up to $10,000 to help you pay for your degree at Ivy Tech, but that loan is 100% forgiven when you graduate and you work at Parkview for 1 year after graduation. So it's a fantastic opportunity for you to pay for your degree, get a tremendous job opportunity after graduation. And then from there, there's some really great ways that you can advance both your education and your career. I'm sure Heather will talk a little bit about the other education benefits at Parkview once you're employed there. So if you want to get an associate's degree and then go on for a bachelor's degree in further education, Parkview can help you with that too. So the way that it works is you will apply in your senior year, and our priority deadline is March 1st. And we will do a review of eligibility. Parkview also reviews all of those applications. They select students to be awarded in the program. And then once you're awarded, Questa will work with you on your acceptance, getting you all the steps that you need at IB Tech to make sure that you're admitted, enrolled, registered for classes. And then we'll be with you every step, every semester to make sure you're doing well. We can provide support. We'll be providing that funding to IB Tech to cover your degree and make sure that you're ready to succeed and then connect with Parkview for job shadowing experiences, on-site experiences, and then ultimately a job. So to give you a little background about who qualifies for this program, obviously when you think of Parkview, you think of healthcare. And there are tremendous opportunities for students who want to go into a healthcare field. If you're interested in nursing, interested in respiratory therapy, surgical technology, all kinds of different areas are things that can be funded through this program. So we're welcoming those applicants. But it's not just for healthcare students. So if you are interested in any of these other fields that are on the screen, if you're thinking about accounting, finance, computer science, technology, even in the building construction area, HVAC, culinary arts, public safety, there's a number of opportunities for you to earn a degree at Ivy Tech that will prepare you for a great opportunity and job at Parkview. So we want to make sure that everyone understands healthcare majors are welcome, but also many other majors would be a great fit for this program. We have a couple of slides that I won't go through in complete depth, but I just wanted to point out for any students who are doing programs at the Career Academy with Fort Wayne Community Schools, those programs directly align with a number of the Ivy Tech degrees that could be a fit for you if you're interested in this program. So this just shows some connections between health science areas at the Career Academy that relate to Ivy Tech associate degrees. You could also see some of those professional service areas like IT or software development, and you have so many choices of what you could potentially study at Ivy Tech. There are a couple of other areas like in the hospitality area or in public safety that are a great connection as well. And then finally, those building trades specialties at the Career Academy also directly align with potential degrees at Ivy Tech. So it gives you a little bit of overview of how you could take what you're doing at Fort Wayne Community Schools as a high school senior right now, apply that to a great degree opportunity at Ivy Tech, and then connect with job opportunities at Parkview. I'm going to cover two other things briefly before I turn it over to Heather. One is that this program will provide up to $10,000 over 2 years for your degree. And that can be used for any of your expenses related to your education. So sometimes other scholarships or opportunities will cover tuition and fees, which is fantastic. For example, 21st Century Scholars Program is something that will provide funding for students to cover tuition and fees. But there are often other costs related to achieving your degree, and that's what this program can help with. So if you need it for tuition, you can use it for that. You can also use these funds for anything else that connects to your education. So your housing, your books, your equipment, transportation, childcare, any of the expenses that it takes for you to be a student is something that you can use this funding to cover. Beyond the funding, there are other resources that are available to you in the program. So even if you may have 21st Century Scholars and maybe some other scholarship resources, and you're not sure if you even need the funding help, but you could use the connection and support and opportunities at Parkview, this could still be a really good fit for you. So when you're in the program, you will be part of a cohort of students that are supported by one of our staff members at Questa, who's going to be there to help you kind of work through the whole process at Ivy Tech. Everything from applying to registration for classes, to making sure you're successful in classes, and helping you with any campus resources that you need in order to be successful in completing your degree. There's also tremendous opportunities for you to connect to Parkview. So when you're in this program, we'll help you with opportunities to do job shadowing experiences, do on-site work experiences at Parkview, like for nursing students, that could be clinical experiences at a Parkview facility. Those are great ways as you're a college student for you to start to get to know your future employer, build your resume, explore the right fit for you in terms of department or specific job, so that when you're closer to graduation and you apply, you're going to be a fantastic candidate for Parkview and you're going to know what you want to do there. We also have a number of other resources that we can connect you to. So beyond the resources at Ivy Tech and the connections at Parkview, if there's other assistance that you need as a student to help you be successful, that's where your Questa advocate's going to be there for you. So that's a little bit about how the program works and what's involved. I'm going to invite Heather to share a little bit more about Parkview's role. They are the sponsor of this program. Parkview is a tremendous employer in our community who does so much in order to invest in students and invest in our community development. I'm particularly excited that Heather's here to be able to talk about this program because this whole program was her idea and she's the one who made it happen. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her share a little bit about Parkview's goals with this program.
Thanks, Liz. Happy to talk about this. This is something that we're really excited about. And really the why for this program came from hearing from our school partners, hearing from students themselves about some of the barriers that they have to accomplishing their goals, accomplishing their dreams. And we really wanted to step in where we felt like we could help. And presenting an opportunity like the Opportunity Scholars, we hope that it enables more students to be able to say yes to accomplishing their goals. And so this is really just an opportunity for those students who maybe didn't quite understand how to make all the pieces fit to saying yes to higher education. So it is specifically oriented around Fort Wayne Community School students. We have 50 of these available for the class of 24, so 50 for each senior class. As Liz mentioned, we want to encourage students of all interests to apply. Yes, we absolutely need our nurses and the clinical students, but we have a workforce of over 16,000. We have our own police force. We have culinary teams. When you think about the jobs at Parkview, it is pretty diverse. And so we do need individuals from all of those different degree programs to pursue those degrees so that they are qualified to work in the jobs that we have available. And Liz mentioned maybe your end goal isn't an associate's degree. We want you to know that this is still an opportunity that would benefit you, because when you get that associate's degree and you qualify for that job at Parkview, once you're a Parkview coworker in one of our benefit eligible positions, you are open to a world of benefits at Parkview. And that, yes, that includes insurance and things like that, but it also includes more education support. So if you say that you really want to pursue a bachelor's degree or beyond, we have tuition assistance that you can use to pursue that advanced degree. So, Liz mentioned this is funding for a 2-year degree at Ivy Tech in exchange for a 1-year work commitment to Parkview. We hope and we think that once you're here with us, you'll stay a lot longer than 1 year, but that's just the minimum requirement. And we are excited to partner with students again while you're in school so that you can get to know us, get to know those areas that you want to work in long term so that you're really supported throughout. So this is more than just a loan. This is really a team of individuals, of organizations from Parkview and Questa to Ivy Tech, and even your school right now, surrounding you, making sure that you are able to be successful to complete this 2-year degree and begin your career.
Great. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you sharing a little bit of background. I'm going to pause here and just see if there's any questions from those who are participating with us live. We'd be happy to answer those. You can put them in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and share any questions that you have about how the program works or your own specific application to the program. I'm going to go ahead and continue to share a little bit of information about the application process itself, but please feel free if you've got questions to add those to the chat or to just go ahead and kind of raise your hand through Zoom and we can talk about those specifically. The application process is really easy to complete, but it's helpful to sort of see it and understand what you're doing. And then, as I mentioned, if you have any questions about the application or about the program, how the loan works, how the funding works, how the debt forgiveness works, we are happy to work with you. So I'm going to share some contact information at the end of our discussion, and I just encourage you to call, email, get in touch with Questa, because that's our role, is to help you through this process. So we want to make sure we can make it easy for you. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through the application. If you're with us and you want to just take a screen shot of that QR code, you can get on the application website and kind of walk through this process as I'm describing it. Now, when you first go to our website, you will be asked to create an account and a login. And that's so that once you've started this application, you can go back in. You don't have to finish it all at one step. So you can start it, you can then log back in later and finish it. So that login just helps you access the system, and then you don't have to repeat or start over with anything. Now, when you first get into our application system, you're going to see a couple of different options for you to start your application. You can either click on that option up at the top for start a new application, or you can click on this tile that will take you to the application itself. And we have a number of different programs. And at the end of our session today, I am going to talk about a couple of different funding options that Questa offers. The Parkview Opportunity Scholars Program is our highlight for this session. And so if you're applying to that program, you're going to click on this tile in order to start that application. And then the application itself, you're going to see has two tabs. So it's basically two pages. You're going to do profile information, where you just fill out some basic information about yourself, and then an application tab where you'll fill out a couple more details about your interest in your career and your major, as well as your interest in working at Parkview. So to share a couple of things about what you want to put on that initial profile page, it'll have basic contact information. Some of the questions we often get from students when they're filling out this college section is what to put for a college ID. If you happen to have taken some dual credit classes with Ivy Tech or another school, you may have a college ID already, and you can put that in. But a lot of students don't have that, and you haven't taken college classes yet, in which case you can just type in zeros. And then again, if you have taken dual credit, when we ask for credit hours completed, that would be any dual credit hours that you've completed through high school, including things that you're currently enrolled in. So say you did 3 credits fall semester and you're currently enrolled in another 3 credits this semester, you can go ahead and put what you anticipate you'll have by the time you graduate. Then for your college, if you're applying to the Parkview program, your college that you list here is going to be Ivy Tech. So you want to list that. And then you'll put in your information about your interest in your major, the degree type. This often confuses people as well. When you put in college status, we mean what your status will be in college next fall when you start, which will be freshman or first-year students. Once you fill out that profile information, you want to make sure you click on the second tab for the application itself. And you can fill in some additional information about your interests in what majors you would like to pursue, and a little bit more detail about your interest in this particular program. A few things to note, like we do ask for your GPA from high school, and we give you an opportunity to share a little bit of background about your GPA. I want to make it clear that there's not a GPA minimum requirement for this program. So you don't have to have a certain GPA in order to be eligible. You have to be able to graduate high school and get into Ivy Tech. And if your GPA isn't quite as strong as you would have hoped for high school, that's what this explanation point is for, to maybe explain those circumstances. If you had a rough start and you got better and stronger academically as you continued, or any circumstances that impacted your GPA. Again, there's not a GPA requirement, but it's just an opportunity for you to share a little bit more. When you fill out your degree choice, this is what you want to major in at Ivy Tech. It is helpful to tell us your first and second choice. So maybe nursing right now is your first choice of degree, and as an alternative or another option you're thinking about, it could be surgical technology. That just helps us to understand a little bit about the options you're considering. It's also helpful for the Parkview team when they're thinking about students to award into the program to know how many students are in various majors, and know how that might move a little bit, because we know once you get experience, you may decide one or the other is a better fit for you. There's also going to be some things on here to ask about activities you've been involved in high school. But one of the things I want to touch on is we do ask 2 questions that we call essays. These don't have to be really long, but it does help for you to share a good sized paragraph at least about your responses to these questions. So we'll ask two things. One, why did you choose your intended major? So why are you thinking about that nursing major or that accounting major? Why does that interest you? And then why do you want to work at Parkview? Obviously, Heather just shared some really great benefits about Parkview, but this is part of how they evaluate applications to understand somebody's motivation and fit and interest with the culture that they offer and the opportunities that Parkview has. So it's a great way for you to share a little bit more detail about that. And if you don't know that much about Parkview, you can always go to their website and learn a little bit more about them as an employer and the work environment and see how that could be a great fit for you. Also on that page, we're going to ask you about scholarships you have received. This is for programs where you know you've already been awarded a scholarship. So I've mentioned 21st Century Scholars before, or maybe you've applied to scholarships through community organizations or your school. If you know you're getting that funding, then you could list it here. If you have other things that you've applied for and you don't know the results yet, you can go ahead and leave that off. And then we do have a section asking you about information from the FAFSA. So many of you probably already know this, that FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. High school seniors are all required to complete the FAFSA, and there's support through Fort Wayne Community Schools to help you do that. This year is an interesting year because the FAFSA has been revised just this year. And so there's some things that are new for everyone, and it can be kind of complicated to figure it all out. So if you need help, Fort Wayne Community Schools offers regular opportunities like FAFSA nights or support through the College and Career Readiness team that can help you and your family complete the FAFSA. So when you apply to Questa for this program, we're going to ask if you've completed the FAFSA, and we will ask you to share what's called your student aid index from the FAFSA, and you'll get that on the summary report once you file it. We also give you an opportunity, and this is optional, but if you want to share any other details about your family's financial situation that impact your ability to pay for college, you're welcome to share things like that. Like, for example, if your family has two or three kids and several of them are in college at the same time, that's obviously a burden for the family. It's helpful to share a little bit about that information because your FAFSA might say, oh, your family could afford to pay X amount to help you pay to go to school. But in reality, you've got two siblings that are also in school as well. And so details like that are helpful for us to know. But again, that's optional. So you're not required to fill that out. If for some reason you are not able to complete the FAFSA, we do have an alternative for you. So you can do what we call our financial aid estimator. There's a link on the application, and it will ask for similar information as the FAFSA, but it's not quite as specific, but it will give you a chance to provide information, give an estimate of what your student aid index would be, and you can use that as an alternative if you can't file the FAFSA. For the vast majority of students, FAFSA is the way to go, and it is a requirement of your school, unless you opt out of that for some reason. But if you aren't able to do it and you need to opt out, we've got that alternative for you. And if you have any questions about that process, that's again a place where Questa can help. So one of the other things you'll want to think about for your application is we ask for one recommendation. And we're looking for a teacher, a coach, someone who supervised you if you had a job experience. It could be a counselor from your school, any what we would call professional reference, meaning no family members, no friends. It's going to be people who know you in your school capacity or a work capacity that could talk a little bit about your readiness for this type of program. When you put their information in here, you want to make sure that you've also asked this person to be a reference. So on the application, you can put their name, email address, and phone number. And as soon as you submit that application, we're going to send an email automatically to that person and ask them to complete a reference for you. So before you hit submit, let that person know that you want them to be a reference, make sure that they're comfortable with that, and let them know to expect an email from us. Sometimes those emails can get filtered into a junk mail or a spam folder. So you specifically want to make sure they're looking for that reference recommendation so they can complete it on your behalf. And then one of the last steps as you're applying is to make sure that you upload any documents you'll need for your application. So you're going to do that profile page, you're going to do the application page, and then you're going to click on this document upload section, and you will just add two things for us. One is an unofficial high school transcript. Unofficial means you don't need to pay for it. It doesn't have to be something that comes sent from a service. You can just send us a screenshot or an unofficial version, and that will work. And then the second is your submission summary from the FAFSA. If for some, like I said, if you're not able to complete the FAFSA, instead you could put in that financial aid estimator and the results of that. And that is the last step. So once you've got those pieces in, you want to make sure you do hit that last button to submit your application, and then everything will be sent to us. We're also checking. So if you've started an application and you're missing pieces, we will let you know. Once you've submitted your application, if there's some field you skipped or we didn't get your reference yet, we will also let you know so we can help you through the process to make sure that you complete. And then if, like I said, if you start the application and then you need to go talk to your reference, or you need to look up some information, or you haven't finished the FAFSA yet, you don't have to do it all in one sitting. So you could log back into that Questa website. This time you're going to click on return to my application, or this little icon, and that'll take you right back to where you left off. You can finish up anything that you needed and then submit. So I'm going to pause there again in case there's any questions. If anybody has questions that they want to put into the chat, or any questions that they just want to unmute and ask, so we can answer those about the application process. And while we're waiting, Heather, are there any tips or advice that you would give from the Parkview perspective of what you're looking for when you review applications?
Thanks, Liz. So, because we want this to be an opportunity for students who maybe haven't thought about this before, there isn't a GPA requirement. You don't have to be a certain type of academic level student. Perhaps you weren't thinking about college, and so maybe you weren't putting all of your effort in freshman and sophomore year, and that shows in your GPA. So make those notes that Liz mentioned in those optional kind of areas that are there. One of the things that really speaks to us is the recommendations from the individuals in your life. Having someone validate your skills, your interest, why you will be able to finish this program and make a great Parkview coworker in whatever discipline it is that you choose. Those are the things that we're looking for. This is a forgivable student loan. And so again, after you've worked 1 year with Parkview, we're going to erase that debt. But we want to make sure that you can be successful in that. So that question of why do you want to work at Parkview helps us understand your interest in completing those requirements. Because what we don't want to happen is for you to go through the degree and then not be able to fulfill that part. Because it's really important for us that this is an opportunity, that this is exciting, and a way for you to say yes to a future that we get to be a part of.
Great. Thank you so much, Heather. All right. Well, one last thing that I'm going to touch on before we wrap up is a couple of other funding opportunities that we have available through Questa. As I mentioned, we're primarily focused on that Opportunity Scholars Program with Parkview, but Questa does have several other funding opportunities for students, and so I'm just going to touch on those lightly. One of our other programs is what we call our Traditional Scholars Program. So if you're a student that is sure that you want to do full-time bachelor's degree straight through before you start your career, this could be a potential opportunity for you. And it can be something that helps prepare you and still go find a great career opportunity at Parkview after you graduate. But there's a little less of that immediate connection. So what happens for the Traditional Scholars Program is it's still what we call a forgivable loan program. And in this one, you can earn up to 75% forgiveness. So it's not 100% forgiven like the Opportunity Scholars, but there is a great opportunity to get funding that can help you achieve your degree, and then most of it can be forgiven. So the way that it works is we will provide students up to $20,000 for a bachelor's degree, so typically $5,000 a year. And when you graduate, the way you earn forgiveness is you get 50% debt forgiveness if when you graduate, you return to Northeast Indiana to live and work for 5 years after graduation. And in Northeast Indiana, it's any of these 11 counties that are listed here. So you have to be a resident of those counties to qualify to apply to Questa. And then when you graduate, if you live in any of those counties and work there, that's how you qualify for that 50% debt forgiveness. We also add in another 25% debt forgiveness for students who go to one of our partner colleges or universities. So Ivy Tech that we've been talking about is one of our partners, but we also have 10 other schools with whom we partner that you can get additional debt forgiveness if you go to one of those schools and graduate there. In general, students who apply to our traditional program can go to any school in Indiana that's an accredited nonprofit school. But if you choose one of these partner schools, you qualify for that additional debt forgiveness. So the qualifications for our traditional program are, again, you have to be a graduating high school senior, working toward any level of degree that's what we call undergraduate level. So a certificate, an associate, or a bachelor's degree for college. We do have a GPA requirement for the traditional program. So you need to have at least a 2.5 or greater and be planning on full-time enrollment in college. And then, of course, we want your goals to match our goals. We want you to be planning for and want to live and work in Northeast Indiana after you graduate. If you're thinking about, I want to go to college and then I want to live in New York City, that's amazing and great goals. But then this probably isn't the best fit for you because that debt forgiveness is only if you come back to the region. So you just want to make sure that that's a fit. Now, again, I said the way that it works is we'll provide $5,000 a year. So usually for bachelor's degree students, they go to school for 4 years and they can get $20,000. Associate's degree students can get $10,000. And it's really dispersed by year. So that's how that works. So if students are going a little longer or a little less, that's how the funding will work. And then again, just to show how that debt forgiveness works, if you're a bachelor's degree student and get a $20,000 loan through Questa, $10,000 is forgiven when you live and work in the region for 5 years after you graduate. Another $5,000 is forgiven if you go to a partner college. So that means you only have $5,000 left to repay. Obviously, that reduces the debt that you have when you graduate. Also, as a nonprofit organization, Questa pays that forward. So the $5,000 you repay to us, we use to fund future students. So it's part of the way that we kind of continually invest in our community and the students who come after you. One other scholarship opportunity that I'll mention is our Hispanic Latino Scholarship that we host for Hispanic Leadership Coalition of Northeast Indiana and Latinos Count. These are two great organizations in our community that provide scholarship funding to Hispanic and Latino students. Questa hosts their application. So it's the same website that we were just going through where you can apply to either of these scholarships. And the great thing with this program is you apply to one application and it actually is an application to both scholarships and you can be considered for both opportunities. So another great potential funding resource for you. And you can apply to multiple things. So if you applied to the Parkview Opportunity Scholars Program and you applied to the Hispanic Latino Scholarship, you potentially could be awarded both. So you can kind of piece together all of those different resources to help you cover your expenses. Another opportunity that I'll mention is our Made by Me scholarship. This is for students going into the skilled trades or manufacturing. And this is, again, scholarship funding. It's not a loan, but it's a resource to help students who want to go into the trades to pay for training, classes, equipment, boots, transportation, anything that it'll take for you to be able to pursue that apprenticeship and get your certification or licensure to work in the trades. And then the last piece that I'll mention is we have on our website, a page for our financial aid resources where all of these opportunities are listed and many, many more. So it's a way for you to be able to search for scholarships, funding opportunities, anything for which you might be qualified that could help you pay for training or education after high school. Obviously, there's lots of great resources for graduating high school students, but I will also mention for family members, there's a lot of great aid and scholarship and resources for adults in our community that are looking to pursue further training or education to further your career, including funding from Questa. So those are places to check out both for high school seniors and for adults in the community that want to continue their education. So I'm going to review those deadlines again. Our priority deadline for the Parkview Opportunity Scholars Program is March 1st. The final deadline is June 30th, so there is additional time, but we really encourage students to apply now because you will have the best shot of being selected and awarded into the program. The traditional scholars application for Questa, our deadline is March 15th. And then for that Hispanic and Latino scholarship opportunity, that deadline is also March 15th. So all of these applications can be accessed through the Questa website. All right, well, I'm going to pause on the screen. I'm going to leave this information up. We have in here Becca Wren's information. She's one of our team members at Questa. She's the primary point of contact for students who are just graduating high school, who are interested in our Opportunity Scholars Program or in the Traditional Scholars Program or those scholarships that we just talked about. So Becca's information is up here so you could directly talk to the person who can walk you all through it. But anybody on the Questa team is a resource for you. So you can go to our website, you can email, you can call us. All of us are available and ready and excited to help you. Going to give it just one more minute for any last questions, and then we will wrap up. All right, any final words, Heather, that you want to add? I know you already did a great job of sharing about the program and application tips.
No, thank you. We're excited and hope to see a lot of applications in at the priority deadline. But it is open. So if we don't have all 50 given out in that first round, we definitely want to fill that. We want to support you if this is something that makes sense and helps you accomplish your goals.
Fantastic. Thank you. Great. Well, thanks for joining us. Be sure to contact Questa with any questions and utilize your resources to help you through this process of figuring out what you want to do after graduation, how you can make those goals happen. There are a lot of people here to help you. You just need to ask those questions and we'll be a support for you. So thanks again.